What's going on, everybody? We got another episode in the books. This week, we got Mr. Kevin Sparks coming on the East Coast. My man started in Massachusetts with the company Insa. Then they broke their way into the Pennsylvania medical market. I think we got a lot of good words this episode. A lot of really good shout outs. So without further ado, thanks for tuning in. This is Turf Trends. Let's dive in. So cool. Thanks for tuning in, man. We got another episode of Terp Trends. Finally, a little gap in my recordings, but a little hard drive mishap too. But we got Mr. Kevin Sparks here. You know, Kevin's been on a journey kind of all throughout the country from what it seems and landed himself back on the East Coast. He's running with this company called Insa, but I'm going to let him kind of take the mic, do a little intro, and we'll talk about how it's been lately. So if you want to take a little second, my man.
Yeah, sure. My name's Kevin Sparks. I appreciate the opportunity. And there's the pup behind there. I appreciate the opportunity and the time today. So just to give you a little background on myself, I've been around the game for a little bit. I was kind of kicking back and forth from Humboldt and Massachusetts back, even the 2005 days.
Yeah, man.
So I've been kind of exploring out there for a while. It's like super eye-opening as far as like quality and what cannabis can do at the full potential with a little bit of sun.
How long were you out there?
I was out there all the way probably up to 2018, going back and forth.
Oh, sweet.
And then I lived out there for about a year and a half in like 2008, 2007, that time period.
Yeah, nice.
Kind of like the hot time when everything was, 3,200 a pound, 4,800 a pound.
Yeah, in the glory days, dude.
Back east.
But you're originally from the East Coast, though? From Mass?
Yeah, I'm from Springfield, Massachusetts originally.
Sick.
I lived out there, so that, living around there is like there's a lot of cannabis use, a lot of blunt smoking, a lot of Dutches.
Oh, sweet.
And,
like Philly.
Yeah, so I was around it. It was like honestly, it was like really. It's really surprising. Springfield is probably one of the biggest hubs. Considering where it's located in between Hartford and New York City.
Damn.
And then you have a lot of the Canadian stuff used to funnel down there, and kind of still does. But so I was in Springfield for a while, and then I ended up getting an opportunity with Insa. And it was kind of tough to turn down.
Yeah.
And
for sure, man. And what led you out to Cali? Did you have homies out there already doing it, or were you just took the plunge?
I got lucky. It just my mother always said everything happens for a reason, and I feel like me making the connections I made out there and the timing of it, and me just seeing the scenery and the surroundings of how California is laid out compared to Massachusetts, it was like super eye-opening. I had a buddy from back home that went to UMass, Amherst, and he knew someone that kind of like just ran away from home, kind of, and that, just to get away. And he ended up driving across country, and his car broke down in Arcata, California.
Damn.
That's how I ended up. He ended up meeting a bunch of people out there. And that just sprung my interest. Like, oh, wait a minute, you can get this for that, and send it back home and get this. Okay, So that kind of started the journey. I wasn't like a big stoner, I enjoyed pot. I wasn't like, when I first started smoking, I wasn't like this huge hippie stoner. But as I got older, I started appreciating the culture and everything the plant has to offer.
Yeah, man. I think that's the coolest thing about this plant is just even if you're not all about it, the connections that you can make or just our own personal endeavors we take with it. Like there's so many avenues and so many different cultures that this one plant is tied into. It's kind of remarkable. Right. Like nothing else is really that big and that culturalized around that.
It's impactful.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's like, you think about our time with like just getting into the medicinal side and the recreational side, like at the state level. Think about like, cannabis has been around forever, and then you look at the history of it, you're like, damn, this is a powerful plant,
Yeah, it's kind of wild to see where it's at now, but we're all making positive headway, and I think it's going to be where it should be in the next maybe 5 years or so. But you're saying you're going bouncing back to Cali. you're not a super stoner, so you're smoking here and there. So what were you doing
Well,
before you?
listen, I was smoking a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
smoking a lot.
But
I was smoking a
I think
lot.
I get what you
It's
mean by
just,
that. You know?
yeah, yeah. I wasn't like there's a stereotype behind
Yes.
stoners like they're lazy and shit. I was not lazy. I was like going after and getting it,
Yeah.
But I was smoking a
Yeah.
lot in the
Yeah.
meantime, you
Yeah, I
know.
think that's the taboo that the word just stoner still carries, you know? And
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lack of understanding the professionalism that still does go with that word. Um,
for
so
sure.
that's what I'm kind of trying to do is break down that to understand like there's mad
Yeah,
professionals in this world, and yes, they are
uh huh,
stoners, but we need to
yeah,
redefine that word and what's associated to it. You know what I mean?
right,
That's cool. So what were
yeah.
you doing? Did you have anything else you were into while you were kind of pushing the limits with that?
I mean, staying out of trouble, obviously, and then I did focus on. I was a chef for most of my life,
Sick.
so I did that in the meantime, and I learned a ton, like as far as just organization
Oh yeah,
and
discipline.
keeping a lot of
Yeah.
pressure. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Performing under pressure, being
Oh, that's
consistent,
awesome, man.
and I think that's one of the hardest things with growing cannabis is the consistency, right?
Yeah.
Like, uh,
Yeah.
one thing from like when I say going out to Humboldt, it's eye opening. Like from you know mountain and mountain range and redwood wise, like it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, but like it's eye opening as far as like, wow, outdoor weed is this fucking
Yeah,
good.
because
You know what I mean?
majority of it's
I've
outdoors up
had
there, right? It's
oh
all
yeah, but
outdoors.
like back in like 2005, 2006 or whatever, it was like full sun, like
Oh
organic,
man.
like dank weed,
Yeah.
like super dank weed.
Nostalgic weed.
Um, yeah, like stuff like when the Blue Dream was Blue
Yep.
Dream,
Mm-hmm.
and when the headband was
Oh yeah.
headband.
Yep.
There's certain strands. There's some platinum cushes and some master cushes and stuff like that. Like you couldn't even break the weed
Yes.
up. It was so
Yeah,
sticky,
yeah. We had a
Um,
strain called Urkel that we were getting,
yeah,
and to this
yep.
day, I have
That's
yet
a
to
famous one. Yeah,
experience like the density and just the white purple complex to that bud. And I
yep,
have yet to find it since then. It was like a breeder and his son. I think we're doing it, and he
yep,
passed away, passed it down to his son, and I don't know if he still carried it. I guess not. But there was the Urkel, and then I think the son made like there was like an orange Tangy Urkel that was going around too, and
yeah, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
find
And
it.
then a train wreck. I
Yep.
don't remember the one train wreck was a
Oh
huge
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Uh, Purple train wreck, but the Arcata train wreck was the one that like it was funny. We had it. My boy had it like maybe like 6 years ago. We ended up getting a seed or a clone from it. It was really like a good representation of
Nice.
it. But like I haven't seen anything
No,
like that heavy duty sativa, like
no.
straight train wrecky.
And
Like,
even the headband stuff, you
uh,
get the minor
oh
effect, but
yeah,
you don't feel like you're wrapped. Like you just don't
nah,
have that
nah.
that real, just like true to name effect of it.
There's one strand now that out of all the shit that's out there, and obviously there's like sour diesel and stuff like that, but like there's one head changer, one strand that comes to my mind as like a head changer. It's Billy Kimber.
Okay,
You ever
I
have
haven't.
the Kimber
No,
cook? Yeah, that's the one
I'm gonna
that's
write it
like,
down. Kimber Kush.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Woo. I don't know, I doubt he'll hear this, but like so Garrison Lane is the company that kind of started it. It's they're kind of the backers of Backpack
Oh,
Boys.
word,
They're kind of
word.
like the ones
Nice.
that got the back. So the Backpack Boys were like super hot on the streets, and then they collabed with Garrison Lane. I think they took the business side and the
I
money
get it.
side and made it
Yep, yep.
a business. So anyway, but the Billy Kimber is the best OG in my
Ooh,
opinion. Like
okay.
to this day, I mean, you can't finish the joint like the headband. Like you smoke the headband, you're halfway through it. You're
You can
like,
put it out.
I gotta put this
Yeah,
shit down. I gotta put this shit
yeah.
down. You know what I mean? The Kimber's the same
Yeah,
way.
it's been a
So
minute since I had that where I'm like, all right, I'm
yeah,
good. I can. It's all right.
yeah.
It did its job. That's impressive. That's sick, man. So how long were you chefing then?
I was chefing for a while, man. Like I had owned a couple pizza shops.
Sick.
Like my buddy and I, like, and basically it's a we took weed money and turned it into a legal
Yep.
business, and
Yep.
then we did that for about 5 years, and then I ended up selling the business, and right after we sold the business, my ass was back in California.
Hell yeah. Nice.
So back to the what I knew,
Yeah.
and I know the kitchen really well, but it was more of what I loved and what I had a passion for. I was right back in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And you had to experience the other one to take love for that too. You know what I mean? So
For
you're
sure.
definitely supposed to do the chefing to come back to the cannabis.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I find is so relatable because there's so many people that tear it up in the kitchen and then find themselves later getting into cannabis. Shout out to Canna Barbecue, that's my man. But he's a big barbecue enthusiast, dude, and it's pretty cool to just hear how much inside cannabis is in food and that
Yeah.
culture.
I mean, yeah, it's you know what it is. It's funny. Think about it. It's a labor of love. The both.
Yeah, yeah, and just
they both match.
The cats you meet in between is pretty sweet. In both
Yeah.
fields. That's sick, dude. So how'd you land Insa?
So I'm from Springfield, Mass. Insa's based out of basically out of East Hampton, Massachusetts,
nice.
Western Massachusetts. It's all the same area, I was doing a lot of the sessions back. We used to have sessions every weekend. This is like they're having now. It's every night out in Massachusetts, but we used to have sessions all the time, and I was doing pretty good. Was getting my name out there, and I had a buddy of mine that was a really good grower, and him and I did stuff together, and then basically just got poached. I knew one of the founders.
That's awesome.
He knew I loved cannabis, and he knew I had a managerial background in the culinary world. So he's like, "Hey, come work for Insa." And I was like, "Nah, make me good.
For sure."
And then maybe like 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, like, "You ready to work for Insa?" And then he's like, "Come be the assistant head grower," and it kind of started from there.
Oh, that's
in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So I worked out in Massachusetts for about a year and a half, and then shot out to PA to set it up.
And did you think it was crazy? Like, were you on the so you're obviously on like the West Coast, and then did you hear about the whole bang that was coming to the East Coast, and you're like, all right, let me get my hands in this? I guess not, because you're kind of surprised that your buddy was like, yo, come get legal, because it's a whole other beast, dude. The legality side of cannabis.
Well, he said to me, he's like, you got to stop doing the other stuff if you work for us, and I stopped.
Yeah, for sure.
I stopped, but it was a good transition for me. And honestly, it's been a really good ride. Been a great learning experience, especially with the seeing how everything was in 2019 versus 2020 till now. I feel like the state made some bad choices as far as like the amount of GPs in the state, but it's a little flooded. But it's been great. It's been great.
There's way more now, because when the program, I think the PA program started in 2016, 2017, maybe even before that.
Yeah.
But when I was on, there was like 5 maybe, like Standard Farms, Fresco, Terrapin. I don't even know the other ones.
Terra Vita. Did Terra Vita have a grow?
No, we didn't. They didn't have a grow, man. Unfortunately, they were just a dispensary.
That's what it was.
But I now when I moved away for a while, then I came back and I saw like how just like more brands and names and products were at the PA. Because it was like 3 years later, I was just like, whoa, like this is pretty cool for the PA, and the prices went down a little bit, and that was great to see for the PA people, because the market when it first started, I mean, it was very hard to see people struggling to get their medicine, and it's cool to see the prices drop, and more growers like Insa, because I've been enjoying it,
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I definitely indulge in the Insa. I love the gummies, the troches.
Shout out to. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, shout out to Taylor. Taylor's been crushing it in there.
Yeah,
he's. We're lucky to have a really good backbone of like R&D from Massachusetts too. You know? So we take those. We have a really good chef, like product developer chef. I don't know. He's a madman. He's super smart.
That's awesome.
Julian Rose, and he kind of. he'll innovate new flavors, new combinations that really
Yeah.
work, and seasonal mixes, and it's really cool to see because if you look, last year we really didn't even have that product, so it's nice that we're able to sell that now to the patients. And shout out to
Yeah,
Taylor,
man. Taylor,
Taylor
thank
Wolf.
you, brother, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, he's been crushing that for
So,
sure.
with your experience in other grows and stuff, were you able to kind of bring in some genetics that you enjoyed mostly to the garden for all of us to enjoy? And if so, what have been your top ones that you've loved?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the whole reason why you know I have so much passion behind it. I think it relates to me being a chef and the different flavors and
Mm-hmm.
smells and
Cultivars and flavors, yeah,
nuances.
for sure.
Yeah. So like the Billy Kimber's one, we just got the cut of Billy Kimber crossed to Gaseous Clay, which is Motor Breath crossed to I think Billy Kimber, and that's crossed into the Billy Kimber,
Mm,
and it's called Kimber
mm.
Slice. So we just got that one. I literally have it going right
Oh,
now
nice.
at Rudy. So that's one I'm super excited about. Last year we introduced over 30 new strains just last year,
A lot of
and
hunting in 30 strains.
yeah, a lot of clones too,
Yeah.
though. So there's a lot of stuff that we kind of knew was going to be a hit. One was like the Sherbanger. Great terps,
Mm-hmm.
high terps, high percentage THC, grows great. That's a really good one. It was crazy. It didn't really resonate with the patients though. It
No.
didn't sell through like we thought it would.
Really?
So yeah, there's some stuff that's one of the things I feel is really interesting, right? It's like you ask me like, hey, what's your favorite flavor? And I'm like the Billy Kimber. I love the Billy
Yeah.
Kimber. But then we'll release the Billy Kimber, and it has either a hit or a miss, response from at the retail level.
I wonder what
Um,
that is. And I wonder what the
it's
demographic
this
is with the people who are
right,
searching for the flower, if they're just going for that high terpene, high THC. Is that
right,
just lacking in the certain terps that they want? But it is kind of crazy that we do have like data analysis and strain cultivation and picking in the consumer level, you know?
right, right. It seems like a lot of the trends are like, yeah, we can come out with all these new strands. I could be super excited about it, but it might not
Mm-mm.
translate,
Mm-hmm.
to the retail side. So that's one of the things I'm learning, because it's like even though you love it, it might not translate to the
Yeah.
customer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And
So,
that was the one thing that you
um,
could manipulate back in the day is, if something crazy was going around and they're loving the blue dream, like maybe you had the blue dream,
right,
like,
right,
yeah, dude,
right.
this is blue dream, and and
Yeah, yeah,
and they're going to
exactly.
smoke it and they're going to love it, and it's not
Yeah,
going to be a negative experience, but you just had to open that door for them to just try a different cultivar. Um, and
yeah,
sometimes the consumer just kind of needs that, a little recommendation,
right.
you know. Damn, I'm excited to
Yeah,
try that Kimber Slice.
yeah, yeah. That's one. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit because I have to intake's not till December,
Yeah,
so probably maybe April, May or something. But we've been really lucky too. A really good friend of mine, he's like the director of cultivation for Insa, Frank Golfieri. He's East Coast Flavor Factory on Instagram. Him and I kind of like, I'm 41 years old. He's around the same age. We kind of look alike. It's kind of funny, but we we both have a passion for new strains and finding the new
yeah,
things, and we have between him and I, we have a lot of connections in the industry. In the basically in the in the
yeah,
cannabis
for
world.
sure.
So we're always on the hunt for the next best clone.
Yeah,
So we work with like Sour
nice.
Waves, Golden State
Yeah,
Banana, uh, some other. Frank's really good friends with Skunk Tech.
nice.
Uh, yeah, I reached out to Mean Gene. We have a lot of support from these old heads
Yeah,
that want to see us put out some good shit. Like the thing is, if we find something
yeah,
good out of their stock, then we share it back with
yeah,
them.
yeah.
That's the goal. We got the root beer crossed with headband, which I'm really excited
Nice.
about. And then the pie scream's another one that I'm really pumped
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
which is a Mean Gene strain. That's it's like Gelato 33 by Wedding
Mm.
Cake by I think Cherry Limeade or something. Mean Gene's got some really good shit out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
with some old school
I'd love to
genetics.
plug you with my dude Bones. He's out in Michigan, but he's got he used to pheno hunt all these different cookies, so he's a cookie cross definitely, man. He's got this sherbet cream pie that just like
Oh
it
man,
just looks
I love
yeah,
Sherb.
it looks insane, dude. And
Yeah,
I would love to
yeah,
get
definitely good
his
stuff.
genetics in
I'd love to
PA.
see that.
It's been he's my number one. Like he's the dude that showed
Yeah,
me what true like good smoke is and
like dank.
growing. Like
Yeah,
when I tried his stuff, it like opened a whole new door where I was just like,
yeah,
whoa, dude. And then he kind of
yeah.
took
Some
me
sweet
in,
dank.
and
Yeah,
to this day, I've yet to try anything that hits like Bones. So shout out Bones. That's cool.
shout out
Yeah,
Bones.
man.
Bones knows what's
So
up.
what another thing I saw about Insa is you guys were trying to do like a pheno hunt with the consumers or something like that. Were you involved in that?
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
was
We were
pretty
doing.
cool.
Yeah, we did that with the jealousy, and it was funny. We got the jealousy seeds. I don't know if you heard of
Yeah,
jealousy.
yeah.
So I think it was Seed Junkie came out with it
Mm-hmm.
originally. But either way, I bought a pack of them, a regulars. There's 12 seeds for like whatever it was, 500
Yeah.
bucks, and we got one female.
Damn.
Maybe it was two female. The rest are males. So like Frank's like fuck that. So he ends up crossing the male and the female we had, and then we made more
Nice.
seeds. So then we took about 200 seeds. It was about 120 seeds I think I popped, and then we narrowed it down to the top, like our top
Yeah.
three that we
Yeah.
liked, and it was kind of a challenge at the retail level, like as far as bundling the ace up at the point of sale,
Yeah.
So that was the challenge
Yeah.
of it. But yeah, we sold them as a bundle of three, and then you get them, you scan the QR code, and then you would put your vote in which one you like the best.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah,
And that probably had
yeah.
good involvement.
You did, and then like we're gonna do it soon again. It's just logistically, it's kind of a ball bust,
Yeah.
So we have to figure that out again. But yeah, we have with all this new stuff coming, man. We have so much stuff that we can have fun with and get the consumers involved, the patients involved. I should say.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of it. I know we've been trying to work with Waddle a little bit on like the review side.
Sick. Shout out Waddle,
involved.
dude. Nice little drop there. That's a cool app.
Yeah. I think it's you're on the same boat as those guys.
Yeah.
They've been in it for a while and they want to pass on good information.
Yeah.
And that's
Chris.
That's the
Chris
hard
loves
Chris
loves data, dude, and just seeing
shout out Chris.
seeing like from meeting him to him developing this idea to like getting it going, like I have nothing but like the highest just respect for the kid. Like it's really cool for him to just see that opportunity for the people. I mean, it's just an organized app where you can just see all of your
Reddit,
stuff.
Let's be serious. Let's be serious about Reddit here. Reddit's kind of like
it's too I just don't feel like
negative.
It's honest. It's too opinionated, and Waddle just gets straight to the point. You scan your product, you're going to rate it. It's going to go into a live feed with everyone else who's using Waddle. And like, I use it personally to see, because I don't just want to go blind buy in PA. It's nice to see what people are saying.
And and for us, like we're one of the more expensive, like one of the more pricier brands, like, you're not going to take a gamble on something you haven't tried before,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's really cool. That's cool. Another thing I see, you're working with what is it, Gilly?
Yeah, Gilly. Yeah, we did a drop with Gilly.
How'd that come about? That's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah, so it was an organic collab, man. It wasn't like it was kind of like we were seeing him smoking our shit, and then we're like, "Where's he buying?"
And he's been he reps Insa pretty hard. Like when you follow him, I follow him on social media. It's really funny and cool to see when he's just throwing cans at people and just like telling people they got to smoke this. And for people that don't know, I guess the best way to explain him is definitely like a hip hop rapper, Philly native, really tied in the community, really tied in the cannabis community.
he's heavy in the Philly
Yeah,
community. Like
yeah,
he really, everyone loves him out
yeah.
there. He's a great dude.
Oh, it's
Actually,
cool. It's
he's
cool
like,
to see, man. And then when I
yeah,
saw you guys were in tied, I was
yeah,
like, I that's sick. So yeah, how did again go back to how that started? Because that's cool, man.
yeah. So yeah, he was smoking our shit, and then which shout out to Gilly. I doubt he'll hear
Yeah,
this, but shout out to Gilly. And I mean, I hope he
that'd be
does, but
sick.
we'll see. He
Yeah,
might.
maybe,
He might.
maybe.
He's down to earth, but he's yeah. So he was smoking our shit, and then we're kind of like, "Where's he getting it?" We found out. I think it was Derek that brought it up to us. They're like, "Oh, Gilly comes in all the time and gets your shit." Derek from
Yeah,
Restore. Shout out
yeah,
Derek. And it was just Derek was like, "Hey, I think Insa could. You want to do a collaboration with Insa and Restore?" And that's what we did. The goal is to get it out to more
yeah,
stores, but the initial launch, the initial release was through Restore exclusively, which is really awesome. Love
yeah.
Restore. Shout out
That's where we
Restore.
shop. That's my home store right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. Let me look at the prices and the selection. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty sweet.
even their standard farms, like their
Mm-hmm.
rosin is
Mm-hmm.
like dirt cheap, like good
Good
pricing.
pricing.
Um, yeah. So yeah, it went well, man. It's like you go on Reddit and go by what people are saying there, but the reality is it's sold more. We sold more units of Gilly stuff than we have anything else this whole year.
Wow, that's
So
sick.
yeah, yeah. So it's been a super success for us. Uh, we have some more stuff coming with
Yeah.
him. Um, just to keep it interesting,
Oh yeah.
and then we're working on some other collaborations
Yeah.
too. Uh, but it's been fun with him, and Wallow's involved too. Like Wallow's the
Yep.
partner on this,
Yep.
so it was I got to meet. I'm sitting at dinner with him and Gilly, and I got to kind of pick up on their vibe.
Yeah.
Man, those guys are amazing. Their energy is through the
Yeah.
roof.
No, I enjoy watching him on the socials, man. He's a
Yeah,
funny man to watch. It's cool. It's cool to see.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, that's
definitely.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, there's three strands there: Mule Kick, Gilly Wonka, and the Perp 30, which is a play on it's kind of a crazy name, but he's actually donating a small portion of that to some kind of foundation, which is pretty
Oh, that's
cool.
sick.
On anything that's sold, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's and it's cool to see him at his prominent status actually being involved in his brand and his company when it's
Yeah,
coming to cannabis.
yeah,
Because I've been around with
mm-hmm.
other artists when it comes to their cannabis line, and maybe they're not as tied into it. So it's cool that he's hands on, and
Yeah,
he's involved
yeah,
with
he
it. It's
is.
not just it's his name. It's his whole backing. It's he's in it.
Yeah,
So
like
that's sick.
he's got like a little 5'8" cutout of himself with life size. And he's the one that came up with that shit. I was like, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
It's like,
That's cool.
So,
That's cool.
yeah, he's funny, man. He's got a ton of energy. He'll text me once in a while. Like, I found a seed in one of the ace. I'm like, shit.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him it's a trophy for you, man.
Huh?
You tell him it's a trophy for him, man.
Yeah, that's what I said, what color
Yeah.
was it? I said,
That's funny.
so, yeah,
That's funny. So that's cool. So where do you see PA going? In the next handful of years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I mean, we're dipping into the rosin game
Oh,
soon,
snap.
so that'll be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's going to be interesting because we're going to change our ways a little bit, or change some practices.
Because you are running. You guys do have extracts though already, right? Like live rosin.
Yeah, we do. We do. We don't have any
waxes.
Nothing rosin.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Or I mean resins. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, all the resin, all the BHO stuff's kind of like. The problem is if we the way we price our BHO, like it needs to be. That's what our rosin prices most likely will be around. You know what I mean? Like around that price point. So we're gonna just probably transition to live rosin and rosin products.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I think it's great. I wish we had like a little greenhouse out back that we could set up and get some, sun-kissed cannabis, but, for the rosin itself. But it'll work out, man, because we have a good game plan. I don't want to give out too much, but we're definitely stepping it up. Like more towards like not really kind of organic, but more true to what the cannabis plant likes.
So maybe some.
For better flavor, better terps.
What about some full melt?
Yeah, yeah, some 6 star. That's
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
yeah.
You got my interest.
Yeah, no, we're gonna start. We're gonna start with probably just a
Yeah,
mixed spectrum,
yeah,
and then
awesome.
once we get the process down and we make sure the material's good, and we'll probably scale up and start getting into like the pens and the trochees, obviously, all that kind of stuff.
Man.
So
Whew.
we're excited. Yeah.
And is that like a later next year drop or?
It's going to be next year for
nice.
sure.
Nice.
Probably Q1.
Yeah.
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, excited about that. As far as Pennsylvania, I mean, I hope it keeps going how it's going. I think without rec, will it go rec this year? I have no clue.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of it seems like it's politically driven, right? So
whispers, but I think it's still being delayed. I know they have a lot of the laws written on how they want to lay it out, but they haven't gotten all signatures or whatever they need. So it's still
they make too much
still
money.
delayed. Yes, that's the problem. But with the surrounding states, going with the way they are, they're getting more push to do it. But it's like PA loves the money, so
they love the the fundraising money.
Yeah, so we'll see. What is it in Mass? Is it rec there?
Yeah, it's rec and Mass. You can grow in
That's
Mass.
Sick.
You can do whatever in Mass.
I'm hoping they at least adapt that angle for PA.
I mean, people are kind of it's kind of funny. Like the Florida thing didn't pass, but like pretty sure that law was kind of bullshit.
Yeah, the Florida law is really really shady, and how it was written, how their whole bill was written. Shout out True Leaf, and it's just it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Sure, yeah, but that's the last thing you want. I mean, you've seen it in California and probably Oregon, right? It's like it's just the way it was. Before it was legalized in California, it was way cooler. And then it legalized and it wasn't really that cool. It was more strict than anything.
Yeah,
I couldn't get away with it.
No, it's how it is, man. It's kind of wild.
Yeah,
it's kind of wild. So wrapping it up, dude. A couple questions for you. One of my funniest question I love when people ask is, dead or alive, if you could smoke a joint with someone, who would it be?
Huh. Out of all the people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough, man. That's a tough one.
Yep, I know.
Because it's like, I used to look up to Mean Gene like so much, and then all of a sudden I was smoking a joint with him and like talking with him for an hour. You know what I mean? So it was like that. I would say almost like one of those kind of like influencers, like Kevin Jodry or one of them guys. But I don't know, probably Bob Marley.
Yeah, he's up there with mine too. Yeah.
Because it's tough. I almost want to. I like Vibes Cartel. I almost want to say Vibes Cartel because he's out of jail.
Yeah.
But Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I can ditto that. And when you're cruising, man, maybe just relaxing. What do you like to bump to? Are you more of a reggae guy, or what do you? What are you getting down with?
I grew up on hip hop.
Yeah.
I grew up on the Locks and Jada Kiss. And,
yeah, man. Okay, right down my alley.
Mixtapes.
Yep.
Getting mixtapes every Friday down at Fats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they used to come out mixtapes all day. Gator Entertainment.
Yeah.
Super Mario, all them Big Mike mixtapes.
Man.
But not.
Shout out.
A lot of times
That's sick.
I love hip hop. I love hip hop. I love reggae too. I actually liked reggae before I even smoked weed. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vibes Cartel, Jada Kiss, Gregory Isaacs, another good one.
Nice.
So, smooth.
Looks like we'd be in the same circles, man.
Yeah, man.
And last but not least, favorite strain, dude.
Insa strain. Current Insa strain?
Or just, in general, your personal favorite, if you just had to smoke it, what's your go-to?
The Billy Kimber.
Cool. Nice.
Billy Kimber.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, brother, that was a good one. That was a quick little wrap. You know, we keep it short, we keep it sweet. Hopefully, a little for the commute for people just to tune into. You know,
Yeah,
a
it was
lot of
great.
cool information there for the PA people with Insa,
Yeah.
little insights. Shout out Gilly, shout out everyone else we gave to. And hopefully have you back, dude.
Yeah, yeah, anytime. You get a little group session, get some other people on too,
Yeah,
you know?
that's the plan. That's what I want to try to do. Get a lot of PA heads or East Coast heads just in the room, and I'll say what's up. So for the future,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
and
definitely.
so just stay on real quick. I'm just gonna stop it.